guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. In today's video, like the title suggested, I'm going to show you this nice burgundy eye and lip look. It's usually hard to sort of pair your lip and eye with the same color because you don't get those nice like neutral colors out there, except for the browns or the you know, like shimmery golds and stuff. You don't get these purples and pink, like neutral purples and pinks out there. But I did find that palette which is really perfect for this neutral pinks and purples or burgundies. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. But before that, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel so you will know when I upload my videos. I hope everybody is doing well in this lockdown. Stay safe and take care of yourself. Now, let's get right into the video. Let's start with some skincare. I have a very dry skin. So before I put on any makeup, it's really essential for me to put on some moisturizer and some primer. Sometimes when my skin's feeling really dry, such as right now, because the weather's changing, the climate's changing, seasons are changing, everything's changing. So my skin's like really dry at this point of time, so I really need to like layer the moisturizer one on top of each other. So I'm gonna be using an emulsion. Emulsion is like a thinner moisturizer. The emulsion has much thinner consistency than a moisturizer. It's like a lotion, which adds another layer of hydration for your skin, so it's acting like something that moisturizes your skin and doesn't let go for hours and hours. So that's what I'm going to use first, and then I have this like a mini version of the Dramatically Different Moisturizing Lotion from Clinique. So I'm just going to put this on first and then this on top. So I'm just going to take like 1 pump. And for the primer today, I'm going to be using the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. This is one of the most illuminating primers that I've ever seen. I recently purchased this and I tried it on a couple of times. Honestly, sometimes what I do is I just put this on. I just put the concealer where it's essential, and then I just put some lipstick on, some blush on, and then just head out. My face just glows like a diamond. So that's how illuminating this thing is. I'm just going to take like a little bit of this, about that much would do. Rub it into your hands. It's perfect for the nights. Next, it's time to color correct my skin. I do have a lot of dark spots and some pigmentation on my skin, so I'm just gonna go ahead and color correct right now before we even go to the foundation. And for that, I'm gonna be using this Stilla Color Correct and Perfect palette, and I am going to be using this orange shade. And the brush that I'm going to be using is the Sigma Concealer F70 brush. I'm just going to be using this shade under my eyes, like where the darkness is. And this orange is going to help me like cover the green veins and the blue veins, whichever color veins you have. And then for my pigmentation, I'm going to be using some orangey yellow concealer. I'm going to be using the NARS Red and Creamy Concealer in the shade Walnut. About here, and there. And I'm going to blend this away. The good thing about this concealer is that it's got both yellow and orangey tones to it, so it really helps in covering those veins and the dark skin, the hyperpigmentation. And then in between, I'm just going to use my finger to take that excess off. I look really funny right now, but trust me, this thing works. And for these beautiful dark spots that I have, I am going to use this green corrector from the same palette. I'm just going to use my finger to sort of apply that. Just find the spot and use the color right on top. For foundation, since I'm color correcting my face, I need something which is both hydrating and acts as a full coverage at the same time. So I'm going to be using the NARS Sheer Glow Foundation in the shades medium dark 1 and medium 2. I usually mix 2 foundations because, well, for brown skins it's really hard to find the exact colors to match your skin, and also with the seasons changing, we don't normally look the same throughout the year, so it's really helpful when you get 2, one darker and one lighter shades, and then you can just mix them like you want. So as you can see, this is darker and this is lighter, and I can just form my custom color for my skin, like see how my skin's feeling, mix more of that dark color or more of that light color like I need to get that perfect shade. So right now I need both of them in balance, so I'm just gonna mix equal amounts of both the foundations and dot it. Obviously, the next step is to blend everything using my one and only favorite blender, the Beauty Blender. I'm just going to dip a little bit of this sponge into the foundation and then just start blending everything. I'm going to be avoiding this under eye area because I don't want to layer too many things because of the creases that we have there. So just avoiding that part. I'm just going to use a concealer to blend that area. I'm going to be blending everything else in a place. It looks like I'm killing my skin right now. I swear by this concealer. This is one of the best concealers that I've ever used. It's creamy, it's nice, it's not texturized, it doesn't cause any creases, it doesn't have too much of oil, it blends away smoothly, it's amazing. It's none other than the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, which I just used to cover my hyperpigmentation. As a highlighting concealer, I use this in the shade medium 2. I'm just going to put this here, here, and here, like 3 dots. That's more than enough. I don't have to create a V. I'm also going to be using this to highlight my face. Just put it on the couple of areas where you think highlighting is required. And then I'm going to be using this IT Cosmetics foundation brush. This is like a dual-ended brush. This is a concealer side and this is foundation side. I'm just going to blend the concealer using this brush. So I'm going to be going in with a really light hand, and it depends what strokes you want to use. I sort of keep switching them while I'm blending the foundation, so while I'm blending the concealer. First I sort of sweep it across, and then like to smudge away the concealer, I pat the brush, and in between I even use my fingers to remove any excess off. What was left, I just bring it a little onto the sides of my nose and just blend the nose area a little. And for my forehead, I just use that foundation part of the brush just because it's quicker and bigger. And to cover up my dark spots, what I'm going to do is just place this on top of the dark spot and leave it for a while for it to dry, and then I start blending. Some of those dark spots are going to peep through, which is what I prefer because, like I said, I don't want it to look too unnatural. So that's what I do. By the way, this is like a glam look. This is not an everyday look. It's impossible to do this sort of makeup. As I was saying, it's impossible to do this sort of makeup every single day because it takes a lot of time and you don't want to look like this every single day. So this is something that you can do when you want to go out with your friends, brunch or parties, or some I fancy. Just not every day. I mean, if you want to do it every day, just be my guest, but don't have to, you know. Okay, while the concealer is drying, I'm gonna go ahead and do my brows. As always, my favorite brow palette here is the Benefit Brow Zings Pro Palette. So recently I learned a new technique to do my brows. So what I do first is brush all the hair upwards. This is what I normally do. And I take the darkest cream shade in the palette, sort of draw a border underneath my brows just to define that line of where I want my brows to end. And then I just fill in bald spots wherever it needs filling in the direction of the hair. I'm not going to fill this part. Then I'm going to brush all my hair downwards. This is a new trick, guys. So I just brush it all the way, and I'm going to start filling the upper part. Just draw that border where you want your brow to sort of start, and give yourself that arch. Don't worry if you don't have it perfectly, you can just clear it away with a concealer. And then do the same thing, like fill it up, draw the border, give yourself the arch if you want, and then connect the end and fill in. And once you're done filling, just comb your hair up again, and when you reach the end to the side, comb your hair up and just sort of smudge that line as much as you can. And then when you reach the ends, brush it sideways. And then at the end, I'm going to pick the lightest shade on the palette. This is a powder shade. I am going to use that to fill in the front section of my brow, just to give it a nice gradient. If you want to know many other ways to fill in your brows, I'm going to leave the link to the video I did before about brows. The entire video is all about brows. Just go check it out. It may help you out. To conceal or to clean my brows, I'm going to be using the Brow Contour Pro pen. It's got some concealer shades and it's got some dark and light brow pencils as well. So I'm going to use the lightest shade to conceal or clean my brows. So I'm just going to draw a line underneath the brow to clear any smudging that's happening. So it looks a bit sharper and cleaner. And once I do that, I'm going to use a thin brush, like a very teeny tiny brush, to sort of blend that line away. I think the concealer is ready for me to blend. What I do is I just take my concealer brush, I sort of lightly dab on that concealer to blend. Like that. So when it comes to this point, just because I've put a lot here, I'm just going to blend it all together and then just blend the edges like that. Next, to contour my face, I'm going to be using the Huda Beauty Tanto Contour and Bronze Cream. I'm going to be starting a little above my natural contour line and then just stop right there. Right there. And then my hairline up here. Obviously my jawline. Okay, starting off with my forehead, I'm just going to be blending the contour off into the hair, and the sides of on my cheeks I'm going to be blending it nice and well with the brush first, taking it a little bit onto my temples. Just using my fingers wherever is necessary to blend that off. The reason I put it a little above my natural contour lines, because one, it acts like a bronzer. Two, when I blend it, it goes deep into the exact place where my natural contour is. If I did put it on the exact contour line, when I blend it with a brush, it would have gone way underneath that. Right after that, I'm going to go in with my Makeup Forever HD translucent powder, and I'm going to take one of my MAC sponges and just dipping that into this powder. I'm going to start like not baking too much, but just a little bit to sort of set that powder in over here. Until this sets in, I'm going to be concealing my eyelids. Actually, I'm going to be priming my eyelids. So to prime my eyelids, I'm going to be using the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion in the shade Caffeine. I'm just going to put it on my lids and then just use a concealer brush to blend that in. So I'm going to be using the Sigma P88 to blend this primer in. Okay, moving on. Today we're going to be using the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette. The reason I chose this is because one, we're entering into fall, my favorite seasons. Two, because I'm wearing this. Do you see that? It matches that. So those are the two reasons. Nothing else. Don't expect too much. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Too much glare, but this is what it looks like. It's really pretty. It's in cherry color. I did use this a couple of times, but not on camera. So I'm gonna be doing like a nice flowing look. So I'm gonna be putting some light color in here, and then it's gonna fade into some darker outery. So it's gonna look good. Let's hope. I think I'm gonna use Juicy, this nice rosy plum color. I'm gonna use that as my transition shade. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to be putting that right underneath my crease, and then I'm going to be slowly fading that out underneath my brow bone. And then on the outer corner, I think I'm going to be first placing the shade Devilish, which is like a nice dark burgundy shade. Just going to be putting that on the outer V, like so. I'm not blending that just yet. And I'm going to take like a smaller blending brush, something like this. This is the E39. If you don't have one of these brushes, just take the other blending brush that you used before and then try to like blend it on the spot. Like blend the shade into the transition shade that you put before. So both colors look seamlessly sitting there on your lid. Okay, on top of that dark burgundy shade, I'm going to be using a little bit of this lighter burgundy shade, the one that's next to it, that's Bing. This is a nice sort of plum shade, so I'm just going to be using the same brush to sort of put it on top, just to make that color more vibrant. So the dark color that you put before is going to act as a dark base, and this light color is going to brighten up that base. And once you put those two, I'm going to go back in with that blending brush and then try and take off any harsh edges I see. I'm not trying to diffuse the shade, I'm just going to take away any harsh edges I see. After that, I'm going to take a flat shader brush like this, and then I'm going back in with the shade Bang Bang. This is like a nice rose gold shimmery shade, which I think is the hero of this palette. So I'm just going to put that right from the inner corner all the way to the 3/4 of the lid. So once I do that, I'm going to be going in with this like really, really thin blending brush, and I'm going to be picking up the shade Devilish again, the darker base that we put here. I'm going to be taking that and then going back into my crease just to create that definition. Once all the colors are placed, I'm going to be going back in with the initial blending brush that we took the transition shade on. That is this nice rose shade again, and then just blending everything into this. Just make sure there are no harsh edges. After putting everything on, I really think I have to lighten the shade up a little more. So I'm going to go back in with the shade Bang Bang and then just top up, like layer the same color on top so that it's much more brighter and like shinier. I'm going to do the same thing with the darker colors. I'm going to go back in with a little bit of Devilish and then put it on the outer V just to top up the colors. Go back in with a smaller blending brush and then just combine these two colors here. And then with the same brush that I used to put the shimmer shade on, I'm going to be using the shade Turn On, which is like a much more lighter shimmer color. And then I'm just going to put that on the inner corner just to highlight that a little bit more. For my lower lashes, I'm going to take a pencil brush and then first I'm going to be applying the shade Juicy, which is the transition shade all over the lid. Just connecting that color at the end. And then I'm going to be going in with a little bit of Devilish on like just the outer corners like this. And then with the same shader brush, I'm going to be picking up the shade Bang Bang, and then I'm going to be connecting the inner corners with the lower lash line. Next, on the waterline, I'm going to be going in with this nice purple cherry burgundy shade. This is a Glide On Eye Pencil by Urban Decay. This is from the same range from the cherry palette. So I'm going to be lining my waterline with this. Next, I'm just going to line my upper lash line. Like, I'm going to draw this line really close to the lash line. I'm not trying to create a wing or anything. I'm just going to line it like very close to the lash line just to give it a fuller effect. Can you see the difference between this and this? This seems more like compact and full. Like that. So I'm going to wear my lashes and I'm going to be right back. Okay, so let's wipe this thing off of our faces. How do we look? Good? Okay. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering what this brush is, this is one of the most soft brushes I've ever used. This is the Body Shop Face and Body brush. Just go and ask them. They'll know. Now that we've got that white stuff off of our faces, I'm going to be going ahead and putting some contour powder on my cheeks, and I'm going to be using the Too Faced Cocoa Contour for that. And the brush that I'm going to be using is the Real Techniques Multitask Brush. And I'm going to be using the shade Medium Mocha. That is the lighter contour shade that we have here. And then I'm just going to be, you know, just putting that there. Not too much, just a little to set that up. And then I'm going to be using that face brush again to sort of blend it up. I'm going to be using the Becca blush today. This is in a nice orange shade. I think that it complements the burgundy in a nice way, so I'm just going to be using this. This is the Becca Tiger Lily. I'm just going to take a little bit of that on my blush brush. This is a Real Techniques blush, and I'm going to put that on my cheeks. Like that. Like I said, once I put the contour on the blush, the dark spots will be peeping through. And that's the kind of look that I'm looking for, because I don't want a clear face. Not a clear face. I want a clear face, but I don't want it to seem too unnatural, too cakey. So I'm good with this. And for the highlight, I'm going to be using the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in the shade Champagne Pop. I'm going to be using the brush Sigma F35, which is a tapered highlighter. I'm going to be picking that up on the tip of the brush, and then I'm going to be starting right here, and then I'm going to be taking that color right onto my temples. Just going to use my finger to sort of blend the color. Just a little more up there. With my ring finger, I'm just putting a little dot on the tip of my nose and a little line on the bridge of my nose. In forehead. Done. Next, let's figure out the lips. I think I'm going to be going in with the shade called Third Date by Huda Beauty Power Bullet Matte Lipsticks. That's good. That's perfect, actually. And I want to make this a little glossy, not all matte, so I'm going to be using the Space Cowgirl lip gloss from Decay. And then I'm just going to be putting it right in the center, like this. I'm going to be finishing everything off with the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. I love this mist. What do you think? Good? Bad? I think it's okay. I like it, actually. So that's the look, you guys. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna see you next time with another video. Until then, bye bye.